In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Namaskar. Welcome to PT Pointers. And in this video, we are going to cover major headlines of the Hindu, Indian Express, Press Information Bureau, and Live Mint. So, without wasting any time, let's start today's discussion. And our first headline is related to मुख्यमंत्री सुख आश्रय योजना, जिसको रिसेंटली लॉन्च किया गया है हिमाचल प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा. And it is aimed at providing appropriate care, protection, development, and self-reliance to orphans, specially abled children, destitute women, and elderly individuals. Now, recently, Afghanistan Embassy in New Delhi announced decision to cease operations from October 1st, 2023, and this move comes as a result of several key factors that have hindered the embassy's ability to function effectively. And friends, in accordance with the Article 45 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961, all property and facilities of the embassy will be transferred to the custodial authority of the host country. Now, let's look at the present status of relations. So, friends, despite closure of the embassy, India and Afghanistan are continuing engagement with each other, and India has been maintaining a technical team in Kabul where staff provides visas to Afghan traders and travelers to India, and there are 2 weekly flights that carry Afghan citizens and items to India, and India also uses flights while sending humanitarian assistance to the Afghan people, and some Indian goods are also entering Afghanistan through other countries like Iran and UAE. However, these all are indicative of the informal nature of relationship, as formal diplomatic ties are unable to take off because India refuses to recognize Taliban, citing human rights abuses by the regime. And friends, Taliban has been urging India to support it with its economic revitalization through projects like electricity generation and road building works. India has not recognized Taliban formally, but Indian diplomats have been engaged with the Taliban. Our next headline is related to Nagorno-Karabakh region, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently Azerbaijan claimed full control over the Nagorno-Karabakh region after local forces, mostly Armenians, agreed to disarm and disband. Now let's know more about the region. So friends, it is located within international borders of Azerbaijan, and it is in the South Caucasus region between Eastern Europe and Western Asia, spanning the southern part of the Caucasus Mountains that roughly includes modern-day Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. The region is home to majority population of ethnic Armenians and an Azeri minority, and it is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. The conflict between Azeris and Armenians goes back a century when Ottomans attacked South Caucasus during World War I with the help of Azeris. The major issues between both the countries include delimiting the border between them, the nature of new transportation corridors in the region, the future of the status of Nagorno-Karabakh, as well as transfer of prisoners of war and other detainees. Our next headline is related to circular migration, which is a repetitive form of migration wherein people move to another place and back to country of origin according to availability of employment. This means instead of migrating permanently or temporarily to another location, people move to different locations for a brief period of time when work is available. It is phenomena mostly among low-income groups who migrate to avail seasonally available jobs in other country, city, place, etc. And circular migration became popular in 60s and 70s with the advent of globalization and development. And in India, internal migration, which is migration within a particular country or state, has almost been circular. Now, recently, Pierre Agostini, Ferenc Krauss, and Annie L. Hullier have been awarded the 2023 Physics Nobel Prize for experimental methods that generate attosecond pulses of light for the study of electron dynamics in matter. Their experiments have given humanity new tools for exploring the world of electrons inside atoms and molecules, and they have demonstrated a way to create extremely short pulses of light that can be used to measure the rapid processes in which electrons move or change energy. And do you know, friends, Nobel Prize in Physics is awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. Now, recently, World Bank released India Development Update, which is the World Bank's flagship half-yearly report on the Indian economy. And according to it, India continues to show resilience against the backdrop of challenging global environment, and it expects that global headwinds will continue to persist and intensify due to high global interest rates, geopolitical tensions, and sluggish global demand. As a result, global economic growth is set to slow down over the medium term against a background of these combined forces. And in this context, World Bank forecast India's GDP growth for financial year 23-24 to be at 6.3%. But bank also observed that despite significant global challenges, India was one of the fastest growing major economies in financial year 2022-23 at 7.2%, and India's growth rate was the second highest among G20 countries and almost twice the average for emerging market economies. This resilience was underpinned by robust domestic demand, strong public infrastructure investment, and a strengthening financial sector. Now, recently, founder and editor-in-chief of NewsClick has been arrested under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act by Delhi Police, and provisions invoked against NewsClick include Section 13, which includes unlawful activities, Section 16, which includes Terrorist Act, Section 17, raising funds for terrorist acts, Section 18, conspiracy, and Section 22, subclause C, offences by companies trust of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, along with IPC Sections 153A, which includes promoting enmity between different groups, and 120B, which includes criminal conspiracy. Now let's know more about Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. इसको पास किया गया था 1967 में, and it provides special procedures to deal with terrorist activities among other things, and it is aimed at more effective prevention of certain unlawful activities of individuals and associations for dealing with terrorist activities. Baki, for more information related to Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, you can go through our website. इससे related link डिस्क्रिप्शन में अवेलेबल करा दिया गया है. Our next headline is related to exercise Sampriti, which is started on 3rd October 2023 in Meghalaya. ये 11th edition है. It is alternatingly organized by India and Bangladesh, and it signifies strong bilateral defense cooperation initiatives. इसकी start हुई थी 2009 में in Assam से, and it has witnessed 10 successful editions till 2022. Our next headline is related to PM स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स आत्मनिर्भर निधि स्कीम, जिसको लॉन्च किया गया था 2020 में बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर्स विद द एम टू फैसिलिटेट collateral free working capital loan to street vendors to restart their businesses which were adversely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The scheme aims to facilitate collateral free working capital loan up to 10,000 of 1 year tenure with enhanced loan of 20,000 and 50,000 in the second and third tranches on repayment of earlier loans. It incentivizes regular repayment through interest subsidy at the rate 7% per annum, and it rewards digital transactions by way of cashback up to 1,200 per year. Our next and last headline is related to OPEC, which stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently India asked the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries to be sensitive to the needs of oil-consuming nations and curb output cuts. Now let's know more about OPEC. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये एक परमानेंट इंटरगवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिसको क्रिएट किया गया था बगदाद कॉन्फ्रेंस में in 1960 by Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. It aims to coordinate and unify petroleum policies among member countries in order to secure fair and stable prices for petroleum producers, an efficient and economic and regular supply of petroleum to consuming nations, and fair return on capital to those investing in the industry. And do you know, friends, OPEC Plus was created with OPEC member nations allying with 10 other oil producing countries, which include Russia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, South Sudan, and Sudan. So, with this, let's conclude our today's discussion. Thanks for listening, and for regular updates, you can follow us on various social media platforms.